today. So I wanted to bring you guys a 10-minute introductory yoga session that you can do at home. Um, this past week was Mental Health Awareness Week, and for that, I just wanted to, bring you guys something that you can use throughout the week to kind of wind down, relax and restore. When you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, or if you just really want to get moving and get some mobility in and work on your physical practice. So what we're going to do is we're going to start in easy pose, and that's where you're sitting with your legs crossed on your mat. You can also have a towel or pillow that you're sitting on. Sometimes the goal is to kind of get your knees below your waist, so you kind of want to be sitting up as tall as you can, um, both butt cheeks grounded into the mat and sitting up nice and tall, almost like you have a string pulling you up to the top and uh, you know giving you nice good posture. And while we're here, something that I like to do is set an intention, something that I go back to throughout the week when things are really getting going, and I'm busy doing this and I'm busy doing that. It could be something, a one-word phrase, a two-word phrase, something that's easy to remember and can bring you back, when things get a little crazy. So go ahead and close your eyes, and then we'll get started. Me, I like to meditate and do yoga to music. It's totally up to you. What you like to do, whatever you want to do to make your environment feel comfortable for you, away from everybody, because this is your time. Make sure that you are creating time throughout the week to really take care of yourself and get your mind right, okay? All right, I'm going to voice guide you from here. So we'll stay seated in easy pose, taking a few deep breaths, inhaling and exhaling, thinking about your intention. When you're ready, open your eyes, and then we'll move into tabletop position. And in tabletop, you want to make sure that your knees are directly under your hips and your hands are directly under your shoulders, peeling your shoulders back away from your ears. And on the inhale, drop your belly to the mat, drop your head back, looking up at the ceiling. And then exhale, chin to the chest, belly drawn in, and that nice arch in your back, giving you a stretch in your spine. And we'll do that 2 or 3 more times, making sure you're continuing to breathe throughout. You can wiggle your hips a little bit, stretch those out, release all that tension out. So we'll go here into thread the needle. So place your right hand on the mat, reaching your left hand to the ceiling. And then we're going to bring your left hand through and under your body. If you need to pull your hand out a little bit, you can. But the goal is to have your shoulder and your head on the mat. It's a nice twist stretch to stretch out that spine. And we'll do the other side. Whatever you do to one side, always do to the other. So left hand on the mat, right hand reaching up towards the ceiling. Take some deep breaths and bring it through. Head and shoulder on the mat. Reaching forward. And come back to tabletop. And we'll get into some hip stretches. So bring your right foot up. I like to take my hand and pull my foot out a little bit and lean forward. This really gets deep into your hips. This is a good pose to help work on your splits and hip flexibility. So we'll do the same thing on the other side. Release the top of your foot to the mat and lean forward. I'm at the point where I'm just on my forearms here. Eventually, I like to be able to stretch out forward, but I'm working towards that. So work with me. All right, come back into tabletop, and then we'll go into a child's pose. You can either do child's pose with your, knees a little bit closer together. I prefer to do child's pose with my knees spread a little further apart, with my big toes touching in the back, and then bring your arms forward in front of you, stretching forward. Take a few deep breaths here. And come up. I always like to transition from tabletop when I'm doing restorative poses. So from tabletop, you'll just lie down on the mat, and we're going to go into recline bound angle pose. So the soles of your feet are together, and just let your hips fall down to the side. Hands down by your side and facing the ceiling, and just relax and take a few deep breaths. So bring your left hip in, give it a good stretch, or your right hip, and then we'll do the same for the left side. From here, we'll go into Happy Baby. This is a good prep pose to be able to do what they call Sleeping Baby. I'm not there yet, but I like to use Happy Baby to get really deep into my hips and play around. If you're not able to do Happy Baby, you can do one leg at a time, like you see here. Eventually, you should be able to work your way up to both hips. Press back. So next we'll go into a good butt and hamstring stretch. So cross your knee over your right thigh and interlace your fingers behind your hamstring, behind your knee, and pull forward. We'll do the same thing on both sides. So cross your knee over the opposite leg and interlace your fingers behind. The goal is to take the hands and kind of press the leg back to give you a good stretch in the opposite leg. And finally, we'll come down into our final pose, Shavasana, or corpse pose. And this is where you can just take a few moments to think about your practice that you just did, and also come back to your intention. When you're ready, you can kind of lay on your side. And then come back up into easy pose. Legs crossed right in front of you. We'll reach our fingertips up to the ceiling and bring your hands down together in front of you. Namaste, and thank you for practicing with me today.